This Thursday, our Houston Texans take on the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football in Houston. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you guys know I absolutely despise Thursday Night Football games. I think they're the worst. And I know some of you guys actually like Thursday Night Football games because, obviously there's more football to watch. But Thursday Night Football games are just bad all around. They're a bad product. The NFL should seriously get rid of it. And here's my reasoning for it, if you guys don't know. Number one, injuries. Injuries are clearly more common on Thursday Night Football games because obviously you have like 4 days of rest before or after your previous game, so that's not really enough time for you to get healed up. Two, the matchups are absolutely terrible. I mean, seriously, who wants to watch, like last week, who wants to watch Denver versus Arizona? I mean, no one really wants to watch that except maybe Denver and Arizona fans, but even then, that's a stretch because they're two not very good teams, so probably their fans don't even want to watch them. Just a bad product. Another thing, players that get hurt on Sunday have absolutely no chance of coming back and playing on a short week on Thursday. For example, Kiki QT, he suffered a minor hamstring injury. If we would have been playing on Sunday this week, he would have definitely played. But since we're playing on Thursday, he's gonna miss the game, unfortunately. So Kiki QT is probably most likely out because we're playing on Thursday. Another thing, teams just do not have enough time to practice, and I think that's dumb. I mean, you only got really 3 days of practice because obviously on Sunday you're not going to practice. So you come back on Monday, watch film, you start practicing on Tuesday, and then practice again on Wednesday. So on Thursday you have your game. So what teams do, they don't even have practice. They don't have padded practice. They just have simple walkthroughs. So it's just a bad product on the field because the teams really aren't prepared on a short week. So usually the games either end up being a sloppy mess on offense or they end up being a lopsided game where one team just completely obliterates the other team. So it's just not good football. And as for the Texans, something to note, Bill O'Brien on Thursday Night Football, he's 1-3. The only win came last year versus the Bengals where Deshaun Watson pretty much bailed him out with that long 49-yard touchdown run. So other than that, I mean, O'Brien hasn't really performed well on Thursday Night Football as the year before that, if you guys remember. They lost on Thursday Night Football 27-0 versus the Patriots. So Thursday Night Football, a short week, is definitely not Bill O'Brien's strong suit. He definitely struggles getting his team ready on a short week, but I mean, who really doesn't? You really only have 3 days to practice. That's why I just think they should get rid of Thursday Night Football as a whole and just leave it for the special occasion, which is Thanksgiving. I mean, seriously, nobody wants to watch these games. They're a bad product, and yeah, so there's my little rant on Thursday Night Football. So if you guys didn't know, that's why I hate Thursday Night Football. But anyways, let's go on to this Dolphins and Texans game. So let's start off with the Dolphins offense versus the Texans defense. Let's start off with the Dolphins running game versus the Texans run defense. The Dolphins average 106 yards per game on the ground, which is 18th in the league, and the Texans allow an average of 92 yards per game on the ground, which is 8th in the league. So the Texans are a good team when it comes to stopping the run, and I think it's really showed these past few weeks. They really contained LaShawn McCoy. He had a few little nice gains, but other than that, he really didn't do much. TJ Yeldon didn't do anything versus the Texans. Ezekiel Elliott got held to like 50 yards when we played them. So they've really been doing a really good job of stopping the run as of late. So I think this matchup is going to play out in the Texans' favor. I think the Texans can definitely stop Frank Gore and Kenyon Drake and really force Brock Osweiler to beat them through the air. So I think the Texans win this matchup. I think our front seven is arguably the best in the league. Clowney has finally woke up. J.J. Watt's been awake. Merciless finally showed up on the stat sheet. DJ Reader's been dominant. McKinney has been good. Zach Cunningham has really turned it around after that terrible start to the season. So this front seven is really good. I think they'll really make life difficult for the Dolphins in terms of the run game. Now, on to the passing game. Okay, look at this. Brock Osweiler has only been starting for 2 weeks for this team. On the season, the Dolphins averaged 222 yards per game, which is 25th in the league, which isn't really good. But with Brock Osweiler at the helm, these past 2 weeks have been averaging 309 yards through the air. So, I know a lot of you guys are saying, well, we're playing Brock Osweiler, that's an automatic win. Actually, Brock Osweiler has been outplaying Ryan Tannehill. Brock Osweiler has a better completion percentage. He's thrown for more yards in 2 games. Well, not more yards, obviously, but he's thrown for a better average of yards per game than Tannehill. He has 6 touchdowns to 2 interceptions as opposed to Tannehill's 8 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So, Osweiler's been playing good under Adam Gase. So, it's not just a walkover. We're not just going to go in there and just demolish these Dolphins. I mean, it does kind of help that 2 of their top 3 weapons are out for the game. Kenny Stills and Albert Wilson will not play this game due to injuries again. Kenny Stills probably could have played if it wasn't for Thursday Night Football. But, that's a positive for the Texans that he's not playing because he's one of their top weapons. So, the way I see this matchup playing out is I think it's going to be an up and down day for Osweiler. I think he is capable of, not really exposing, but, finding open spots on this Texans defense. And being able to kind of dink and dunk his way down the field. It's really going to be up to the Texans defense in the red zone to really hold them. I think if the Texans run zone coverage, they'll really be able to confuse Brock Osweiler, because when Brock Osweiler was here, that was what he struggled with. So the Texans definitely have some familiarity with Brock Osweiler. Obviously, he's played here, so they will know how to beat him or, how to expose his weaknesses. But the same can be said about Brock Osweiler. He's played here before. He's practiced against his defense, against Romeo Crennel, for a whole year. So he definitely knows some things too. A lot of people are saying this is a revenge game for Brock Osweiler, but it very well could be a revenge game for the Texans too. Why I'm saying that is they asked the Jadeveon Clowney, about Brock Osweiler. Jadeveon Clowney said, and I quote, "He's not here anymore, so I don't really care for him. We didn't win a lot with him." And then he said, "Try to get after him this week up front, make him rattled in the pocket, hope he'll throw a couple interceptions." So obviously, it's not just Brock Osweiler's revenge game. It's also the Texans' defense revenge game. Probably putting DeAndre Hopkins on defense, have him go after Brock Osweiler, because, obviously DeAndre had his worst year under Osweiler. He's probably still pissed about that. So, just throwing DeAndre on defense, put him at defensive end, have him go after Brock Osweiler, hit him a couple times, and, get his revenge. But anyways, yeah, I see this being an up and down matchup for the Texans. Osweiler can definitely, dink and dunk his way down the field with the best of them. That's what he did with us. But hopefully the Texans defense can hold in the red zone, bend but don't break type of mentality. Now, the Dolphins pass protection versus the Texans pass rush. The Dolphins have allowed 15 sacks on the season. 4 of them have been on Osweiler. The Texans have gotten 19 sacks on the season. The way I see this playing out is Clowney has woken up. Watt has been awake. Merciless finally showed up on the stat sheet last week versus the Jaguars. So I think this defense is going to go after Brock Osweiler. I think they'll really rattle him and, make him uncomfortable. So now let's flip side of the ball. The Texans offense versus the Dolphins defense. The Texans on offense average 22.1 points per game, which is 21st in the league, which, yeah, isn't really good. The Texans need to get better at scoring in the red zone. The Dolphins on defense allow an average of 25.3 points per game, which is 19th in the league. So, the Texans running offense, they average 113 yards per game, which is 15th in the league. And, last week Lamar Miller had his best game probably as a Texan. Actually, probably his second best game as a Texan. The 2016 game versus the Colts was a pretty damn good game. If you guys don't remember that, the game where where the Texans came back with Brock Osweiler and Lamar Miller made like 9 guys miss for a touchdown. So I think that was probably his best game. Last week versus the Jaguars was probably his second best game. He was consistently getting 3, 4, 5 yard gains, good runs, the type of runs we really need to win games. The Dolphins allow an average of 136 yards per game to the ground, which is 29th in the league. Last week, Kerryon Johnson, the Lions running back, just ran all over these guys. So, the way I see this matchup playing out is, I see it playing out the same way as it did last week for the Texans and the same way it did last week for the Dolphins. I think the Texans will be able to, just run all over these Dolphins. Now, the Texans passing offense versus the Dolphins pass defense. The Texans on offense average 258 yards per game through the air, which is 16th in the league. And the Dolphins allow an average of 268 yards per game, which is 23rd in the league. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Deshaun Watson and his weapons, Will Fuller, no Kiki this week, and DeAndre Hopkins, they can shred anyone. They can, pretty much do whatever they want because they're that good. But the problem is this week, it's the game plan. I don't know if Bill O'Brien is going to have a similar game plan to last week against the Jaguars, where he pretty much just ran the ball, keep the ball out of Deshaun Watson's hands so he doesn't get hit a lot. Because obviously we have to travel to Denver after this game where, it's a high altitude game. So if Deshaun Watson gets healed up, he'll be able to ride over there on the plane. He'll be able to play over there. And if he doesn't get healed up, then he might have to sit out the Denver game due to the altitude, Because Denver is like 5,000 something feet up in the air. So definitely keep Deshaun Watson clean. They might go with a different game plan. And, something else to add on to this. Xavier Howard, he's a really good corner. Really underrated. They asked him about DeAndre Hopkins. He's pretty much said DeAndre Hopkins pushes off a lot. And then they asked DeAndre Hopkins, what he thought about the Xavier Howard comments. DeAndre Hopkins said, "Who's Xavier Howard?" So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. Because Xavier Howard is a really good corner. I think DeAndre Hopkins should just, shouldn't have said that. Now, Xavier Howard is probably going to be a little bit pissed about that, but I mean, it's understandable. Not many people know who Xavier Howard is, unless you're like a really diehard NFL fan. But like to a casual fan, like you're not really gonna know who Xavier Howard is, because that's just how it is sometimes with these teams that nobody really cares about. Like for example, people don't really know who Broderick McKinney is. A lot of people still don't know who Whitney Merciless is. DJ Reader's criminally slept on. So these teams like the Texans, like the Dolphins, they have good players, but they're not really known because, obviously they get no national attention because they'd rather have national attention on teams like the Patriots, the Cowboys, and all that. But I mean, enough about that. Xavier Howard is a good corner. DeAndre Hopkins, don't really think he should have said that. Still though, I don't think Xavier Howard can, shut down DeAndre Hopkins. If Jalen Ramsey can't do it, if all these other top-notch corners can't do it, then Xavier Howard, I'm sorry, you're not going to shut down DeAndre. You're a good player, but it's just not going to happen, man. Okay, now the Texans pass protection versus the Dolphins pass rush. The Texans have allowed 26 sacks on the season, which is really bad. The Dolphins have only gotten 11 sacks on the season, which isn't really good. Now, the way I see this matchup playing out, or the way I'm hoping it plays out, is I'm hoping the offensive line keeps Deshaun Watson clean again like last week. I think they can do it. I hope Zach Fulton comes back this week. He's obviously probably our best offensive lineman. Nick Martin, we already know, is good. Sunil Kalameti's pretty decent. The tackles are the ones that I'm really worried about. Hopefully Kendall Lamb can continue to play well. Julian Davenport played pretty well after the terrible start he had versus Jacksonville. Hopefully he can build on that. But this is pretty much just all wishful thinking. Hopefully the offensive line performs well, or the tackles at least, because interior line we already know is going to be good. Now, the keys to the game. Number 1, keep Deshaun Watson clean. You did it last week versus a way more talented Jacksonville defensive front. I'm pretty sure you could do it again versus the Dolphins. Hit Brock Osweiler. You got to hit Brock Osweiler, man. You got to rattle him, make him throw picks, make him, start scrambling around looking like a baby giraffe when he runs. And the final key, just run the ball down their throat. I mean, they're one of the worst teams when it comes to stopping the run. Just run the ball down their throat. Try to not throw the ball a lot. Try to get out of this game, with Deshaun Watson in one piece. Give Deshaun Watson 10 days to rest. Now, my score prediction. Yes, everything I've said up to this point has pretty much been the Texans winning. But, again, this is Thursday Night Football. You really just don't know where you're going to get on the field. Bill O'Brien's 1-3 on Thursday Night Football. Usually the better coach wins these games, and I think Adam Gase is a better coach. So I am taking the Miami Dolphins 24-21 over the Houston Texans. The Texans fall to 4-4, and the Miami Dolphins go to 5-3. I think it's pretty obvious, man. This Texans team is more talented than a lot of teams out there, but sometimes, the better coached team wins, and I think in this occasion, Adam Gase is a better coach than Bill O'Brien. He's really made Brock Osweiler look like a serviceable quarterback, and the Dolphins are probably playing better with Brock Osweiler than one with Ryan Tannehill. So, I think the Texans drop this one. It's not really a trap game because the Dolphins are a good team as well, but yeah, I think the Texans somehow find a way to lose this one, whether it's mistakes, whether it's Osweiler getting his revenge, but yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Be sure to comment down below your own predictions. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.